boy Brandon.
Yes, sir, man.
Man.
Look at you, that damn tan.
Ooh, half of it's fake, half of it's real. You see, you don't have this problem, Brandon. These white boys and girls, we have to get what's called a spray tan.
Yeah.
And
I've seen it.
we had just had a girl come over to the house, new, supposed to be like, in the house, same price. Because Kim,
because Kim used to do
Kim
it.
was our sprayer, so she moved. So we get the spray tan, and she's like, "Oh, you want the instant? Like instead of waiting 4 hours to shower, it's 2 hours." So we did that one, and then you shower lightly, and then you patch yourself off, do all this shit, and then you go on vacation, and then you spray the hell out of your body. You are not tan, so
Sure.
burn.
Sure.
I get there, and the very first person we run into is like a bellboy. He said, "Oh man, nice tan. Nice tan." I'm like, "Thanks, guy. I live in a sunny area."
That's hilarious.
Yeah, and then we spray ourselves down like 5 times a day. So luckily, no burns. We went
good.
We went down to Cancun. We stayed at a place. I'll give them a plug. Secrets Divine. Beautiful. Fairly new. I don't know when it was built, but it's recent, over the last like 4 years. You walk in, it smells like a spa. It looks like a spa. Immediately. As soon as you walk in. Why don't you pull it up? Let's pull it up on Google. Secret Divine. We'll give them a plug because their food was good. Sushi restaurant, Italian restaurant, Greek restaurant, buffet, seaside restaurant, 4 pools, high rise. So it's a little bit different because it had a small footprint on its Secrets Divine.
All right, let me see. I'm about to pull this thing up right now. I've got the outside of it.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Now, the only thing about resorts, and you know this, any of these all-inclusives or any resort, you got to go down at like 6, 7 o'clock just to get a seat at the pool.
Oh, yeah.
I hate the game. I hate it. But I played it every day. And one day I got 4 seats just for the hell of it. Just because I didn't know where Jess wanted to sit. I'm like, which pool does she want to be at today? So I put two books over here, and then I put a hat and a shirt over there. And I'm like, yeah. And then we went and picked them up, but after she picked what side. But yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, the water, that is legit bluest water I've ever seen at a beach, to be honest.
That's cool, man.
It was really windy. The whole week it was really windy. So it was just crashing waves constantly, big ones you could surf. So they had a few surfers out there, which is not very common in this area. So it was fun. I did some body surfing. We met some friends and we went out into the water just as one of the days. And one of the guys like, "Oh man, I saw a dude body surf yesterday. It was pretty cool. He went like 30, 40 feet. I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. Let's try it." And the first wave, I hit it just right. And I'm right in the nook of the wave, and it just takes me right in land, like 40 feet. That's like, holy crap, dude! Like, you got it on the first go. I was like, I just right place, right time.
He doesn't know. He doesn't know who he's talking to. He doesn't know that you sailed.
This is true.
That's the problem. He just didn't know he was in the presence of royalty. Didn't even know.
But you can't tell him that. You can't tell him that.
You can show them.
No, it was fun. They were on their honeymoon. We met some other ones that were on like a birthday, just toward the end. So
yeah.
Have you been down there and done Rosa Negra or any of those Rosa Negra restaurants?
No, I have not. Okay. I've been in Cancun, but I've not gone there.
I had never been. So the Rosa Negra brand owns a bunch of different chains of restaurants, different types, like Greek, Italian, Mexican food. Mm-hmm. So they just branch off. So the first time I ever went to one was in Tulum, which is like hour and a half south, or smell good, unless you just really work on it. You just you can be dirty the whole time, which is fun.
Right.
But the Rosa Negra brand is there. That's where they started, and then they branched into Cancun recently. So great.
Okay.
I mean, shows, live DJs, mixing, new age pop with EDM. Light shows. You order a bottle, you're getting a fireworks show at your table. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So we went to
Heck
2 of those restaurants and had a blast each time. Yeah. So
Y'all deserved a little break, man. I'm so glad y'all
dude,
got to go.
I've never done this many excursions ever in my life, which I've always loved to do. So Jess, her love for me. So she just was like, let's just do all the excursions you want to do. So the first day we did parasailing.
Okay.
So it was not as crazy as I thought it would be. So I probably wouldn't do it again, but it was pretty windy. So it was kind of knocking us all over the beach area, but fun. Got some great pictures.
Yeah.
And then we did a 47-foot yacht sleeper boat. Took us for a 3-hour tour over to a private north beach. We went snorkeling and just swam around and floated around. I mean, beautiful beach. Yeah. We'd definitely do the boat again, for sure. Because you're passing all these other boats full of like 50, 60 people, and it's just us 2 on the same size boat. So you felt a little special. Ain't gonna lie, felt a little special.
Again, another example of the presence of royalty. That's all it is. That's all it is.
And they were great. The service was great. It kept they don't promote this, but they're like, oh, you're gonna have 24 beers and 24 waters. We got there and the guy's like, tequila. So he had brought his own tequila and served us his tequila.
Come on.
Just to add the element to it, because we didn't have an opportunity to get some tequila or anything.
Dude, these people are like drinkers.
Yeah. So no, they did great. They were awesome. Captain and a skipper. And then dude, we got to rent these little jet boats. These little badass boats run about 25 miles an hour.
Okay.
Yeah, they're yellow with a tail fin. And it's a seater of 2. You can get a 4-seater, but the 2, and you're rolling on the inside of the bay and through the jungle of the inside where birds and just wildlife everywhere. And then you bust out into the open ocean and you go snorkeling.
Yeah.
And it's an hour out, 30 minutes, 40 minutes snorkeling, and an hour back. So much fun. So definitely do those 2 again. You probably saw the Instagrams that Jess posted, little pictures and stuff. So yeah, we had a blast.
That's exciting, man.
Had a blast. We need a vacation together.
We should.
That's what I was telling Jess on this one. I'm like, man, we haven't done it yet. We were thinking about, we were thinking about August coming to Florida.
Bring your ass. Oh, that's okay. We got space for them too.
Well, if we did that, would y'all go to the Keys with us?
Yeah, bro. We could literally ride jet skis to the Keys from here.
Jet skis?
Yeah, bro. It's like an hour boat ride to the Bahamas.
From shit.
Yeah,
I didn't know it was that low.
People literally just because we're on the coast, even though we're north, we're on the coast. So, I mean, people literally just go get in their boat and they'll go to the Bahamas and bypass all that bullshit for a couple of days and come back home.
All right, I got a plan.
I know some people ride jet skis literally to the Bahamas a couple times a year.
That's crazy. I didn't know that. All right, I got a plan. All right, and in a few years, I want you in on it with me. All right, we're gonna buy a 65 to 75 foot yacht. Okay. Like this is ocean. So I've already researched this in the past and it re-sparked the research after our little boat ride, our 47 footer. 47 foot, you can actually cross either ocean in a 47 footer. That's kind of the shortest that you would do it in.
Sure.
But if you could get one, which you can, there's used yachts. And the thing about yachts is they don't really change the outside very much.
Right.
From the 1980s. I mean, they're pretty much the same because a boat is a boat is a boat.
Sure.
Kind of.
The cat.
Yes. So the aesthetics internal is what changes, So you can buy a 60, 70 foot yacht for like older model, maybe new engine and remodel inside. but it's just an open hole and you put wood frame build out.
Sure.
But you can get them for like 200,000.
Mhm.
Okay. Seaworthy. Put another 200,000 or 300,000 into the remodel.
Sure.
You got a house. You got a house on the water.
Mhm.
And if you make it not like a boat company would, but like a normal person, you make it 8-foot ceilings. You have a normal bathroom in there. You may have smaller rooms because are not as many rooms. Let's say you had a 4 to 6 room. You may have only 4 rooms instead of 6. But dude, you could set that at a dock like Galveston or in Florida. Lease that bitch out to Airbnb. Make a killing off of nightly rentals where people are just at the dock.
Right.
If they want to go out in open sea, they have to rent a captain. That's another fee.
Sure.
But then you could set a destination and be like, all right, we're gonna boat it to the Caribbean. We're gonna be on it and captain it, or hire a captain to take us to anywhere in South America, or let's say we want to go to Europe and go to France. Well, we may not want to ride across the ocean, so we fly over, but then it just shows up, and now you're in the Mediterranean Sea, and you're touring around.
Sure.
I'm really, because no property taxes. It's a house on the water.
Right.
If a hurricane comes, before it comes, you captain it. You hire a captain to take it down to New Orleans, away from Houston, or vice versa. It's kind of a foolproof plan to make a lot of money if you can do it right as a business.
Well, I'll tell you a secret. Once upon a time, in another lifetime, I used to charter catamarans off the Caribbean.
Really? You did?
We had 3 catamarans. We would go because we had a condo in Jaco Beach in Costa Rica. And so we would go between, I was still living in Houston, but we would go between Florida and Costa Rica down that way. And we had 3 catamarans. We had got one from Italy because, so at that time, the Italian government was taking funds out of like these rich people's bank accounts. They're just like siphoning just all their money. And so a lot of these boats were being put for sale because these guys didn't have money anymore. So we got them for a steal.
What?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Once upon a time, bro. Listen, once upon a time, I lived like a king. Now I live with my dog. But so I know a little bit about what you're talking about.
Oh, then you're the perfect person to join in on this venture. This crazy, wild adventure in the next few years.
I've got Italian mafia, Costa Rican police.
What?
I got pirates. I got all kind of stories for you, bro.
Tell me an Italian mafia story. Tell me a quick one. We got time.
So we bought 2 boats from Italy. Well, one of them we had bought from the Italian mafia and didn't know it.
Okay.
And so my business partner, I'm going to call him C, just to but he was out there, and they actually came to Costa Rica and like charged him up on the boat, because what they did was they let us buy the boat at that cheaper price, and then we had it sent to where we were, and then they sent their people down there to come and take the boat back, since we transported it from Italy to Costa Rica. Oh, bro, it was nuts. They were in cahoots with the Costa Rican like police department and stuff. Like they had put my boy in jail. Like it was absolutely nuts. We ended up getting rid of that thing because we thought we were gonna like come and kill us. Like it was too great.
Be floating in the bay one day,
swimming with the fishes. I told him, I said, you know what? This was what I get. See, black people don't even get involved in shit like this. But I'd let you get me caught up in this shit, and now here I am with pirates. I don't even know where to find a damn mobster or a pirate from. And then all of a sudden, I get linked up with you.
Yeah.
And we got damn Italian mafia stuff going on. Some Tony Sopranos after our asses.
You ever run into someone and you're like, they're part of, the mob, or they're part of the cartel or something? I only got a couple of stories. Like one time in particular, I was at the casino, like Charles, and playing blackjack, went in. I was like, all right, I'm gonna take a cool down moment and go to that little bar in the back. And I run into this guy, and he was just decked out, top to bottom.
Yeah.
Now,
That's
when someone does that, I think either new money or faking it, or but his demeanor, he kept trying to like drop without dropping the hints, but he was getting the wait staff to like really cater on him big time. All the bottles after bottles at his table. And he was like, no, more bottles. And at the end, he would say, I'm connected to people, kind of verbiage.
Sure.
But that was like the closest experience to the cartel that I've had. Other than the one time that they came by the house when I was in Mexico, dropping off school supplies, being a good Samaritan. Oh, yeah. It was actually, the Zeta and the drug cartel were fighting in this one particular area called Los Angeles, Mexico.
Okay.
At that time, we had a guy that went to our church that I was going to, and his aunt lived in the city, a little town, and she stayed. Everyone else, a lot of people fled. She stood her ground. Well, when we kind of got word of it, because he was like, pray for my aunt and her family, or my family, come to find out their school was just decimated. But then the cartel was supporting that community, and they wanted good things to happen. They were like funding the school and doing their things because it was on a path to North America.
Okay.
Well, we get down there, we got a whole truckload of school supplies. It cost us like $1,000 to fill up the back of a pickup truck, where it would have cost them, they say $2,000 to $3,000 or more.
Sure.
When the products came from Mexico. I know, insane. So we get in town. We're at his aunt house. We go to, we get into the city, and then the night we got there, they knew we were there, so they came by and they pulled up to the house. A group of them. Hey, what are they doing here? Oh, they're here again to drop school supplies. Okay, all right, fine. And they were like, okay, good. Have a good night. And they, never came back.
They was just checking in, just trying to make sure.
Yeah, like, what are they doing? What are these white boys doing here? Two white boys and a Latino walk into a bar. No, that was like the only other time, because they told us to go to the back room because they didn't know the family. They were like, look, we don't, just go to the back room while we talk to them. And that was the only other time. But yeah, it was a good trip. Beautiful area.
Yep.
Beautiful.
Hell yeah. That's cool, man.
I did not know that about you. You used to charter boats to the Caribbean
for about a year and a half.
That's wild.
It was one of the wildest things. I had to be maybe 23, 24. It was one of the wild. Nobody even knew. I mean, like, if my family hears this, they'll be like, "What in the hell?" Because like nobody really said that's.
I wonder if Jess knows.
She may not know. And if she does know, it was just been in like passing, just like in and out type thing. But no, it was. It was nuts.
Chartering people.
Oh yeah, we were chartering people.
Okay.
We were chartering people. Yeah, no, it got wild. It got wild. No, it wasn't no Epstein boat, but it got wild. It was nuts. And then you can just imagine when you just have access to a couple of catamarans, like whenever, like just like, hey, you want to come back to the catamaran? It's like,
that's wild. That's wild.
Yeah, it was nuts.
So when we do this again, you're gonna be the guy. You can come. We're gonna get a good deal. We're gonna figure out where we get the biggest and best price. I got the engine. I just the research on the other things are gonna be crucial.
I tell you what, we won't get it from Italy.
Okay, we won't get it from Italy. Mark it off the list. Although, let's go back to Italy real quick. Did you know in 2010, Italy launched a and look this up real quick. Pop it up. €1 houses in Italy. So in 2010, Italy launched a program to sell houses for €1 to people outside the U.S. outside of Italy. And they just redid it for this year. So 2024, they relaunched this €1 home sale. There's some criteria. Let's pull up the website. The main one is the euro. Let's see. Yeah. So you can just research Euro Italy, one Euro Italy home sale. So I've read through the criteria and like where the houses are. You can go down to Sorrento, which is an island on the furthest part of Italy. It's a beautiful island. I mean, absolutely spectacular. Now the trick to these are they're not necessarily on the coastline, so you're not going to get like beachfront properties. You're going to be
Sure.
like 50 meters away from beach or the major cities, maybe a population of like 14 to 15,000, 20,000 little towns. And
Sure.
and then you have to pay for the survey, the licensing, and the transfer fees and different things like that. And Italy does percentage basis. I think it's like 1 or 2% of the value of the home. So then they'll revalue. They have an actual value, but they'll basically give you the home for €1. And then you
Wow.
have to, once you buy the property, you have 3 years to start or to finish construction on it, or then you have to pay a penalty. So you got to have your ducks in a row, like
Yeah.
before you do this, like setting up, and they'll help you with different contractors and things. But man, what if you could find one particular little town or area that you want to be in within 20, 30 miles of, like prominent destinations, this would not be a bad deal.
No,
Which
no,
it
man.
was such a success in 2010 that they redid it. They just have a dwindling, dying population
Sure.
in these smaller villages. They're one of the
Sure.
oldest, oldest
Civil-
areas in
Yeah.
civilization as far as like population is concerned. They have most aged people, which
Dude,
is
Rome-
because they live long.
Yeah.
They live fucking long in Italy.
Yeah.
Kind of a blue zone.
Yeah.
You know?
So you need 4 things. It says you got to have the money. So you need about between 2,500 and 6,000 euros for taxes and everything.
Yeah.
You need an Italian tax ID. You need an Italian bank account, and then you need your passport. That's it.
That's it. You
That's
could
it.
own a home in Italy.
Wow, that's crazy, man. Jeez Louise.
Yeah.
That's nuts. That's nuts. We should go home in Italy.
you know the plan. We're gonna retire there.
I know the plan. I know the plan.
We're actually gonna push the wedding to 2026. We just decided, which is
Okay.
fine because it gives us time for her to get us to med school, and then we're gonna go back and scout it in 2025, and then because Airbnb, we want to rent a 20-room villa. We actually made a list on vacation of everybody coming, and good to say you made the list.
Thank you. Praise God.
Yeah. It was a toss up.
I'm sure it was.
Well, that guy at the grocery store really touched my heart, and it was bouncing back and forth between you and him. Now, yeah, which is not a big deal, but we're going to do it a little earlier in 2026 because we were doing it at the end of 2025 anyways. So
Sure.
it really doesn't make that much of a difference.
Yeah, hell yeah. Plus, listen, let Jessica get some of that physician assistant money. What? Yeah. No.
Let's get some bank. I gotta be I need a sugar mama.
That's right. I need one too. I told Maria, I said, listen, go be great. Go get as much as do it as big as you can do it. I will support you. I'll put an apron on. I'll do everything too. I got you.
I'll wear just an apron if you like that too.
Listen, I don't know. I can't, beware. It's a tripping hazard.
All right. Speaking of Jeffrey Epstein and the lateral from Jeffrey Epstein, what are your thoughts on P. Diddy and all the shit that's coming out, man?
Yikes. Listen,
we kind of touched on it, but
yeah, listen, I think crazy shit goes on in Hollywood anyway. And that's not even trying to be a conspirator. Like I just think when you got a bunch of people together who have that much power and that much money and that much influence with very little oversight or accountability, I think it just lends itself to breeding ground for just crazy things to take place. So I think with things like this have followed him throughout his career. He's always connected to something, whether it be a murder, whether it be this, there's always something that he's got his hands in. And I just, I take it like this. I think you take what you hear and then you just kind of maybe just bring it to the middle, because nobody knows unless you're like in that world. Like nobody really knows what's going on. But when you have that many accusations that are being hurled at you like that, and then documented evidence, concerning, because it's not just the sex trafficking stuff. I mean, he's been abusive to women. Again, he's got his hands in murder stuff, all kinds of things. Man, I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen to him. Though.
Who's that rapper that's in prison?
Suge Knight.
Suge Knight. Okay, so PBD is a podcast that I listen to, and they actually talked to Suge Knight from jail.
Oh damn!
Okay, so it's actually a really good one. If you want to go look it up, it's called the PBD Show, and it's the Suge Knight. It's within the last few episodes. So
That's
he's
crazy.
talking from prison. So every 15 minutes, it's like, you accept a call from the correctional. Yes. So he's giving all his shit, like, of what he thinks and what he knows about the industry and why they came down on him as hard as he says they did. I mean, you committed murder. Come on. But prison is like the next option. You're going to kill someone. They didn't come down hard on you. They just did the... You got caught, all right?
He had his reasons.
Okay, yes. So he had his own business. He created his own company. He said he would not turn over to the corporation, the big conglomerate. They can't really control a lot of things. And PD did, from his perspective, he gave into that. Yeah, he was talking about the Masons. There's the Masons and what's the other group? One's religious, like toward God, and one's toward Satan. One worship God, one worship Satan. Masons are the religious Christianity or God centric, and then you have the other ones that are satanic, and this is that group.
Sure.
That's kind of controlling the music industry. This is his perspective.
Yeah.
And this is what he said. He said that it's not about homosexuality. It's about dominance.
Absolutely.
Like a dog dominates another dog.
Yeah.
And humps them.
Yeah.
And it's having something on them.
Yeah.
That you can say, now you're going to give me a percentage of everything you do for the rest of your life because I can hold this over your head.
Yeah.
That this happened and you were part of it.
Yeah,
as well that I just dominated you.
Yeah, you got fucked by a deer and they recorded it, and so now, now
you're a deer fucker. What's that joke? There's a joke about sheep. Remember that joke?
About sheep?
Yeah, about sheep. It's like, how much money would it take for you to fuck a sheep? Give me your answer.
I listen. I don't know. I'm sure there's a number. I'm sure there's a number, but I don't know what that number is.
You're a better man than most people, because most people would say this: no money. And
yeah.
so you would fuck a sheep for free, sheep fucker? Like
no. Listen, I would probably.
You just messed the whole joke up, Brandon. The joke is, how much money would it take you to fuck sheep? And you say, no money, none. And I'll be like, oh, you sheep fucker. It's for free.
Bro, listen, I'm an advocate for the LGBTQ plus community. I will vote for their rights. I'll march for them.
What does sheep have to do with them?
I'll picket for them. I'll do.
Oh, never mind. You're going back to the other side.
I'll do all of that stuff for them. Okay. However, if somebody ever told you, if you had one person that told you Brandon fucked the man, and you had one person tell you Brandon fucked the sheep, believe the guy who said I fucked the sheep.
Oh, I bet it was a cute sheep.
It was a cute. They joke about that. Like that's one of the initiation things into like these groups, like the Trilateral Commission and the Bilderberg Group and all that stuff like that.
Yeah.
You have to fucking go.
Bilderberg. That's the one.
Yeah. Bilderberg.
The satanic. Masons are the God-centric, And the Bilderberg is the
Yeah.
satanic, supposedly. And they do things that make you, like, you can't not, you got to keep the secret because we got a secret on you.
Because we're fucking goats. That's why. We're keeping secret. I mean, could you imagine if your next door neighbor, you found out they were fucking goats? Like,
it'd be like, we got to move, honey. We got to get out of here. We can't tell anyone. We got to keep this property value up. We got to get the hell out of here before a sheep or goat come out the backyard.
You know, I think just the entertainment industry as a whole, I think, and that goes for any type of media, music, TV, internet, all of that stuff. I think they are all vehicles for mass propaganda. Again, as conspiratorial as it sounds, it's before us all day, every single day. The narratives that they want us to believe are being played in our ears and played before our eyes all freaking day long. Most of us, I'll give you an example. Most of us have never, Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Okay, those are our two contenders for presidency.
Yes.
Most people who voted for Trump have never, ever done even a mild dive into what his beliefs are, what his ideology is, what his policies are, where his stances are, whatever, outside of like the major stuff. He's anti-abortion, he's anti-gay, whatever. But most people have never done that. What they do is they go off of what the media gives you about that. Have you ever seen on YouTube, or they do it on Facebook and TikTok, where they go to like a Trump supporter and they start saying stuff and they say it's Joe Biden who did it, but it was really Donald Trump.
I love those.
I think it's incredible because it just proves the point that, and you watch these people go from, oh, well, he's an idiot, that's crazy, to then when they tell them, well, this was Donald Trump, they're like, oh, well, I'm sure he had a good reason for this, and that, like, it just completely turns them around because they are inundated with what the media wants them to think. And we all have our own flavor. Some fucking people go to Newsmax, some people go to Fox, some people go to CNN, MSNBC. It's all entertainment. It's all entertainment. When you look at it, people like Candace Owens, who, a lot of people in the Black community, I'm kind of one of them too, not because I disagree with a lot of what she says. I disagree with the spirit in which she does say it. I think she's what my grandpa would call a coon, but I digress. But when you hear people like that, and like people get so behind their views and they get behind the things that they're saying, not realizing that this is a form of entertainment. They are pandering for your attention, and it just so happens to be about news. But they're no different than fucking Brad Pitt or Angelina Jolie. It doesn't matter what side you're on. It is still meant to influence your actions and your thoughts and your emotions when it's all said and done. And I think that's the shit with P. Diddy and all that stuff. Like, maybe he did it, maybe he didn't. I don't think he'll ever go down. I think he's got too much money. I think he's got too much on people to really ever go down. I think that is a distraction to keep us away from what the main thing is, which is the narratives that both sides, because neither side exists without the other. There's no Democrat without a damn Republican. There's no Republican without a Democrat. And proof to that point is the bill that they just passed about banning TikTok.
Yes,
right?
I was actually going to bring that up.
Yeah. So they weren't going. They weren't going to push it through because it was all about the Ukraine stuff first, and they weren't going to push that stuff through. But then when they put the TikTok stuff in it, now we've got the Republicans on board to be able to do this too. Like, they're two sides of the same coin. Like, they're all in. At no point did anybody say what's best for the American people. It's about what their agenda is. Let's get rid of TikTok because we don't want China in our stuff, and then let's go send another $20 billion or whatever to Ukraine, which it's asinine. We've got people who we know that are struggling financially, trying to keep their lights on, trying to keep their rent on, trying to keep the goddamn cell phone on, and they can't get any help from our country. But we're going to send billions of dollars to Ukraine, and then they continue to put it in front of your face, mass media, trying to influence everything that you do. Most folks don't even know where the fuck Ukraine is. But we've got opinions about all of these things because that's what they want us talking about. Period. It's their agenda.
Yeah. You know, I think the normal American does not understand where the money's coming from or how it's being processed. Or I think our government is never thinking of repaying it, ever. Simply on the fact that if we continue to maintain dominance in the world and having countries that, if you look it up, how many countries in the world use the US dollar as their currency? Because there are countries that have literally discontinued their own currency to use the US dollar as their currency, not counting the countries, which is pretty much every country that has to use the US dollar in conversion to buy goods, let's say from Europe or China, or because China's not going to receive, China doesn't want pesos.
Sure.
They want US dollars.
Right.
So they have to, that's the whole gold standard swap to the US dollar. But you'd be surprised at how many nations actually use US dollars as their country's currency now.
So currently there are 11 official countries outside of the United States that use specifically the US dollar, including countries in Africa like Zimbabwe. You got the British Virgin Islands, the Turks, Panama, Ecuador, El Salvador,
Ecuador. One of them is new, either Ecuador or El Salvador. I think it's Ecuador.
Yeah. But it's 11 countries. Oh, by the way, do you know that the United States has over 700 bases around the world? The next country, the next closest country with bases around the world is Japan, and they have a little bit over 100. We've got 7 times more than the next country.
That's wild.
It's nuts.
Do we feel that the world is like Hunger Games and we are graced with the ability, or not the ability, but just the blessing to be in District 1?
Yeah. I think that's true. I think that's true.
But I can see if the freest nation, right, the freest nation on earth, which still we are, regardless of what people, I guess a lot of people say, I would say there's no other nation that is as free. So yes, we're not free that we can run around naked in the road and freaking shoot up people and do whatever we want to do, right?
Yeah. But there's a lot of opportunity to kind of
there's a lot of opportunity. The thing about our U.S. laws and what people really don't understand is that they're written in a way that confuses people to think that the U.S. government has more control than they actually have. Okay.
Right.
And when I say this, your property, your home, if you're drunk in your front yard, yelling, they cannot arrest you for public intoxication in your front yard. They can arrest you for disturbing the peace, which means you've exited your yard and now you're disturbing your neighbors.
It's impacting outside.
If you have a certain amount of drugs on your property and they have a warrant and they come into your property and they find it, they cannot arrest you for it. Now, over a certain amount, that's deemed to be a distributor.
Sure.
So now you're a dealer. This is when they can arrest you on your property. But on your property, they cannot arrest you for having an illegal product. They cannot arrest you for a lot of things on your own property. When you enter the street, that's their public domain. That's public land. The laws are different depending on your location.
Yeah.
In America, literally on what property you're on.
Yeah.
If you're on someone's private property, you can come to my house, Brandon. You could stab me. And I could turn around to the cops and say, I don't want to press charges. and they cannot arrest you for stabbing me on my own property.
Yeah.
So I think we need to get more educated with the facts that when you're driving on the road or you're in someone else's property, it matters on that person, not the law.
Yeah.
You could be breaking the law on your best friend's property, and if you knew the law, you could turn to the cop and say to them, "I'm not pressing any charges."
Yeah. Yeah. No,
or whatever
it's
it is.
It's crazy.
Now they can't arrest for certain things if they think you're a distributor or drug lord or whatever. But it is very interesting how people don't really understand that.
No. Well, and not to try to be spiritual or anything, but the Bible says people perish because of a lack of knowledge. We perish because of what we don't know. And what we don't know, I do believe, actually does hurt us, because the law, especially in a country like this, if we know the law and we work within the confines of the law, we are always safe.
Yes.
It's ignorance of the law that causes people to live in fear and to not know, what's for them, what's not for them, what's right, what's wrong, what's in there. This is why I feel like sometimes cops get the rap that they get, because they end up doing things to individuals that probably, because people think they have to give up this information,
right?
Or they have to say this, they have to show them this, they have to do this, they have to do that, and a cop is not going to lead you in a different direction. They feel like they're in authority, which in a lot of ways they are. So I mean, their position lends itself to taking advantage if you are ignorant of what's going on, right, wrong, or indifferent.
Exactly. And they've been taken in, and not in a bad way, because it's like, why wouldn't you just show someone your ID?
Sure.
If they just stop you and say, hey, just doing a check, like we've had suspicions of weird activity. Just want to check. But what is that going to aid in your suspicion, other than you looking me up to see if I have a warrant for my arrest and then taking me in?
That's my point. That's my point behind it.
It's like, to know the law, and to know that no, you have to tell me what crime I have committed for you to ask for my identification, because I have the right to travel in the United States unmolested. This is I mean, that's how it's worded in the law. So you if you can't articulate a law that I broke, which a traffic violation is not a law.
Hello.
And a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
A crime. Sorry, let me correct that. A crime.
Yes.
A traffic violation is not a crime. It's a traffic violation.
Yeah.
Criminal courts versus civil versus traffic. They're different courts.
Traffic court.
Traffic court. It's a non-moving violation. Or a moving violation that's not a crime.
Yeah.
These words matter. Right?
They do.
They really do. Now, you can commit a traffic violation to an extent to get a criminal charge.
Yeah.
But it has to be so many times to do that. So.
Sure. Yeah, no, I agree with that. And when you talk about the word compliance, and let me preface this for folks who don't know me, I'm Black, but I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I consider myself an independent, and I'm probably more libertarian.
Me too. We're the same, Brett.
Yeah. But what really grinds my gears about some people, especially on the right, is they love to use the word compliance.
Yes.
When it comes to, especially when it comes to minorities dealing with the police. Well, why didn't they just comply? Well, you should have just gave him this. But these are the same people who will turn around and look at these Democrats or progressives, left-wing people, and say, why are you complying when the government tells you to put a mask on? Why are you complying when the government tells you to do 6 and to that's the shit that really just drives me up a wall, because again, it's two sides of the same coin.
The same
If
coin.
if we're not going to comply when they tell us to put on a mask, I don't have to comply when they ask me what my fucking name is, or should I do it now. Are there instances where I'm just going to give you my information because it's just not even worth the shit? Probably.
Right.
But I know that I don't have to comply in there. But then you can't turn around and get mad at these folks because they're complying in this area that you're not complying in.
Yeah.
It's the same,
Yeah.
it's the same shit.
I think what I've done, and you probably have done this, same thing with mask or whatever. You may say, sure, like, I'll put the mask on, but I don't agree.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
does it help? In the same instance, like, sure, you can have my date, but you're really not. I'm not at liberty to do. I'm doing this because I want to do it, not because I have to do it.
Right.
But cops love me. I don't know. Maybe it's because
I've not had too many bad run with cops.
I would say my benefit is that I have disabled plates.
Sure.
On my vehicle, which is a military privilege. I get it, and I'm okay with that because I fucking paid for it.
Yeah.
With 4 years of my life. Like,
it's just the way it doesn't matter if it was 3 days and that's how it went. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, just like it. Yeah, I mean, we all have a little privilege in our life in certain different ways. Let's imagine. Okay, you used to sing a lot, right?
Yeah.
So in some places, you get free drinks. I would get a free drink.
Free hotel room.
I would get a free hotel room.
Yeah.
You get a free drink and free hotel.
Yeah.
On the other side, I just get free tolls.
It's attached to the work, though. That's your point.
It is. Yeah. It's attached to the benefit of who you are as a person.
Yeah.
You know? Like, you put in the time, or you are working in this area, or you have worked and you still have the status of it. It's like, it's like rewards for your, dedication. Sure. I use Chase rewards because I use Chase.
Right.
I have Amazon rewards because I spend a shitload of money.
Right.
I get points.
Right.
So in every little benefit of life, it's the same concept,
Mm-hmm.
So anyone that says they don't have some type of privilege over someone else is lying. Just take a snapshot of your life. Step outside of your brain. Just look.
Yeah.
Do I get something that other people don't get? And if that's a privilege, you want to call it, then okay, that's fine. Same concept.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. Matter of fact, I had to call the cops this past weekend.
Oh, tell me about it.
Oh yeah, I was Karen this past weekend. Well, whatever the black man equivalent of Karen is. That's what I.
Let's see. What would be the black name for Chad?
I think
how do you spin that? Spin it.
I said Roger.
Roger? That's a black name?
Yeah. Did you ever watch? I don't know, because you were in the Pentecostal church. Did you ever watch
Carl?
Carlton. Carl.
Yeah.
Carl. Did you ever watch Sister?
Yeah. I love that show. It was a great show.
Okay, so there was a guy on there named Roger. Remember, they were like, "Go home, Roger." He was always
yes.
But yeah, so I live on the corner of my street, and so on the entire block, few blocks, there's nothing but bars and restaurants and all that stuff. We've never lived in a place where we could walk outside of our house and like just go to a bar, get sloshed, and walk back across the street, come home. Never, ever in my life. But this Sun, which they've done this before, but it was the worst it's ever been. We get a lot of guys that just park in the parking lots of some of these establishments that are closed, or the gas station, and they just post up, open up their doors, and they just blare their goddamn music all night long. Which again, I know where I live. I'm not ignorant, and so there's a certain, up to a certain point, I'm like, it just comes with the territory. This is where we live, right? But at 2 in the fucking morning, so Marie and I got invited by one of our neighbors to go to a punk rock concert. It was Bad Religion.
Oh, I love them.
And
good job.
And Social Distortion.
There you go. I don't know that one.
Yes.
But I
didn't know. Well, I know a couple of songs from each one of them, but we went there. We got back. It was like 12. 2 o'clock in the morning. My goddamn windows And I live in a 100-year-old house.
Yeah.
Just turned 100 years old. So all the windows, single pane shit, whatever. Happy birthday, house. But the windows were rattling because the music was so damn loud outside in the cars. These guys are not at an establishment eating, so they're not putting money back into the economy or to the neighborhood. Like they're just in the parking lot, parking lot fucking pimping. So at 2:00 in the morning, it was like I said, my TV was on 60. I couldn't hear what was going on in my house because it was loud. The windows are rattling, whatever. And so I text my neighbor. I said, I'm about to lose my fucking shit. He said, "Well, call the cops," because I'm already calling them. Now, I call the cops, tell them what's going on. They're like, "Well, we may be able to send somebody over there. It may take a while." I said, "Well, listen, I'm going to put it to you like this. I paid too much money. It is 2:00 in the morning." I said, "Do you hear this?" He's like, "Yeah." I said, "This is me in my home. I'm not standing outside. This is me in my home. There's a goddamn concert going on right now." I said, "So this is what I'm going to do. Y'all can either send somebody out here." I said, "And by the way, I'm black. I'm not being Karen. And it's mostly my people out there making all that goddamn noise. I'm telling you, if y'all don't send somebody out here right now, I will call this goddamn line until the sun comes up. I will bother y'all until y'all probably come arrest me. Y'all will be sick of me. Y'all need to come shut this shit down right now."
Yeah.
And about 5 minutes later, I heard it all go whoop, whoop. And then it was done. But it's so crazy because it's like the fucking, like, I'm sure a cop's probably sitting on a goddamn toll road somewhere waiting on somebody to go 60 into 55 while he's playing fucking Donut Dash. But meanwhile, I can't sleep in my damn house, and you won't send anybody down. There's literally a mile up the road, there's cops posted up in this area over there, but a mile up where I'm at, you won't even send anybody down. I was like, it's just the craziest ass thing. It was nuts.
Do you think that a lot of the lax, I mean, although you hear about this shit all the time, right? It's always happening in certain areas of town.
Sure.
Do you think that they're apprehensive to shut down non-violent things, to not incite violence because of certain things have happened in the past that bring publicity that they just don't want anymore? It's like, why the fuck am I putting myself in a situation where no one's being hurt right now?
I think that's possible. Yeah, I do think some of that's possible. I also feel because we live in an area that is probably in the final stages of being gentrified.
Yeah.
So there's still a lot of homeless around here. There's still a lot of low income. It's very, mixed. Like we've got our street, and then you can go 4 streets up the road, and they're probably, well, actually in the damn gas station parking lot, they're shooting heroin. I see them shoot heroin, and I can look out my window and see them. So I mean, it's still very mixed. And I think because of that, they focus on areas that are a little more affluent than, because those guys over there a mile up the road, they're not going to tolerate that.
Right.
But here, just because of the area that it is, again, it is up and coming, but I still think there's just not enough. There's just not enough white people. Go ahead.
Well, not enough Karens. There's not enough Karens. Let's just be real. There's not enough fucking Karens. Okay.
There's not enough Karens over here. Oh, but dude. But
I wonder if you can Rinne Karen.
Well, you know what?
There should be an app to like so that you can save face. Be like Rinne Karen.
Yeah.
That just really want to get their rocks off.
Yeah.
Be like, Karen, I'll pay you to come into my neighborhood and start some shit. My neighbor will not cut his fucking lawn. Let's get this shit going.
It's called
Next Door. An app. Oh, it's called Next Door? I was gonna start an app. Karen.
Start the app. But I'm telling you, I'm in the next door. I've never been involved in any of this shit like that. I'm in the next door talking to all the Karens. They love it because I'm on their side.
I love it.
I'm like, listen, it's so funny. But I mean, like, just the idea of law enforcement is just.
I got that. Okay, we got that. Never mind. I was about to say a name. You know how you like to like sit back and you're like, you want to instigate the Karen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like at a bar or whatever?
Yeah.
Like, hey, they said something about you. Or, man, they're causing trouble. Someone should say something. Then you want to see it, and then you're just like sipping on your
Yes,
drink.
yes, sir.
I was about to say, there's somebody else we both know that I love to like poke the bear sometimes when this person comes around, and I'm like, tell me more. Tell me more. Who else hates you? I bet they do. I bet there's cameras in there.
You know, I kind of saw him look at you a certain way last time.
Oh yeah, last time we
It's
were
all
here,
it's
when he
connected.
walked by, you should have seen his look. Oh yeah.
Speaking of fucking Karens, so you've met our dog Frito.
Yes.
For those who don't
Cutest.
know, he's very cute. He's like a Doberman Greyhound Whippet mix.
Yeah, definitely Greyhound for sure.
Yeah, he's the sweetest dog. He's just so energetic. He's only 1 year old now. He just turned one.
I feel. Can I honestly say this? When I met him, I feel like you overplayed it, Brandon. You overplayed it a little bit.
Overplayed what?
The demonology of this dog.
You saw that fucking dog for 10 minutes. That motherfucker. He is a goddamn terror. He's a goddamn terror. And,
you said that. I'm
that's what he
thinking.
loves.
I'm thinking terrorist, like he's gonna have like a cigar in his mouth when I walked in, like sitting on your couch, like, what are you doing here, bitch? About to eat your bag. No, this dog was wiggle, wiggle, shake, shake, kissy, kissy.
Yeah. This motherfucker. Yeah, don't let him fool y'all. This motherfucker's terrible. But we've had him for 6 months now. Yeah. Well, on May 1st, it'll be 6 months. So that's crazy, number one. We got him from the Pasadena.
He survived 6 months?
Listen, that's a miracle, because I thought I was going to throw his ass in the St. John's River. I mean, I thought that was it. I mean, I've never seen a dog. You know, those who don't know, my girlfriend's white. You know, white people love dogs. I don't care what anybody says. A lot of people. Okay. I've never seen a dog bring a white girl to her knee crying. He broke her spirit. I mean, the stuff he did when we first got him was just out of this world. Okay?
Yeah.
So, but he's done much better. He has no clue. He's so ungrateful. He didn't know he was on death row. He didn't know he was 5 days from the electric chair. He doesn't know any of that shit. Yeah, he has no clue.
You should create a PowerPoint. Show him.
And on this day, you were almost out of here.
Motherfucker, you were on death row.
But he's done much better.
You don't have kids, but I want to do that for my kid. I want to create a PowerPoint of what they could be living in.
Mm-hmm. Listen, I get it. I get it. I think it works.
You don't want a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? Ooh. About to show you. You're gonna get a rock sandwich.
But see, you and me, we didn't. There was no choice. It was either you ate what the fuck they gave you.
You know what I laugh at? You know what I laugh at? And you probably heard this. Jess, I'm telling her. She always says this. This is her go-to. It's her go-to thing when the kids don't want to eat dinner, or they say, I don't like this. She always goes, do you know there are kids around this world that are eating cardboard tonight.
There it is.
They're eating cardboard boxes tonight because they have nothing else to eat, and they can at least get some.
Oh Jesus, that's great. That's I'd be like, well, ship it to him then. Give it to him. Ship all this fucking food to him. Then.
Well, Dad, why are you throwing out the cardboard boxes if there's kids that will eat it? Why are you throwing them in the dumpster?
Bro, it's a shit show.
It's true. It's true.
But I treat the goddamn dog like a king. Like he eats like me. He eats nothing but meat. I mean, he eats beef neck bones, chicken, turkey necks. He had a chicken head the other day. Like so
he's killing it. He's the jackpot. Our little shits hit the jackpot too.
Yeah, I know they fucking.
You know, it was funny. I saw a meme, and it said, what do you call a person that lives in your house, eats your food, doesn't work, destroys things in your house, and sometimes just seems ungrateful for what you provide?
Mm-hmm.
A dog.
A dog. Absolutely.
And they're socialists. They're little communist little things, but we love them. Because they're and I struggle with this because they're our prisoners. We ain't gonna let them just run the roads.
No.
We can't. We chip them. We put the mark of the beast in them. We put the mark of the beast in them. We freaking track them. We lock them in. We rub their nose in shit. Can't do that at a kid.
Yeah, no, I can't rub my kid's nose and shit.
Dude, our little.
You talking about Monkey?
Yeah, Monkey. He's torn up the carpet in 3 places.
How much does Monkey weigh? Like 4 pounds?
4 to 6. He got a haircut today. He's a little chub ball though now. He's been eating. So we get the chicken. So we get the chicken and dog food mix. Right? This dog picks through the dog food and just eats the chicken.
Can you say that again?
He picks through the dog food.
To get to what?
Just the dried chicken. The dried chicken.
I want to put a plug right there. Those who don't think dogs are carnivores, that's proof positive that the goddamn dog has some meat.
And now Moose does it too. And then when I leave it out and I don't feed them later, then they'll eat the dog food as the last resort.
Sure.
They eat the chicken first, then they'll go eat the dog food. And, and I never noticed it with Moose because I guess he's bigger and he'll do it over the day when I'm not there.
Sure.
But Monkey, he's so small, I notice it because he doesn't eat all of it. He just eats all the meat. And then when I get home, there's still dog food there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. Little carnivore. Little carnivore.
They're carnivores. For those who don't believe me, all dogs are a descendant of the great wolf. The great wolf. But I digress.
There you go.
I bought this motherfucker because the way our house is set up, the yard, we don't have a backyard. We have a side yard and a front yard that all connect. So he can run the fence line, and we're on a main street. So he sees everything that's going on. He sees all the cars, all the dogs, all the people, all the bikes. And so I don't mind him running back and forth. But what happens, he gets so excited that he'll start barking like this high-pitched shriek shit that he does because he gets so damn excited. And so sometimes, there's not a black person that walks by our yard anymore. They'll walk across the street because they think he's going to eat them, which he won't. But like they'll walk across the street. And then, so if little kids come by on their bicycles, he'll start barking too. And so it scares him. So Marie texted me the other day. She said, hey, I'm tired of him barking when the kids come by on the bicycles. I know he's not going to do anything, but they don't know he's not going to do anything. Right. I just don't like that. Now, Marie knows, and Jessica's probably the same way with you, that if you're complaining to me about something, I figure in my mind, you want me to take care of that problem.
Exactly.
That's so I took that upon myself. She texted to me. I said, okay. I took my black ass down there to PetSmart and I went and got a bark collar for him. Got one. Put it on him. Joe, I swear to God, it is like we have a different dog. Yeah.
They're calmer.
It changed I don't even use the shock. I just use the beep. The beep, it fucks with him. Now I can open my fence. He will walk with me with no leash. It's been a week, less than a week. He'll walk with me with no leash. If I tell him to stop and he's not doing it, if I hit that beeper, shuts it down.
Oh, yeah.
Every Karen in my neighborhood, that's because they all see him. Well, now, what's that new piece of equipment that you got around you? I said, I'll light his ass up if he plays with me.
Yeah.
It's so funny. All of them hate it.
I got one for Moose. Yeah. I got one for Moose that if he barks, he goes off. So they had the combo. Yeah. And I could beep it, and then when I'm not here and he barks, it would still. But I still want him to bark, so I take it off at night. Yeah. And this dog will let you know. He will let you know if there's a raccoon or possum or something in the backyard or someone coming. He will know. He looks like a little pit bull right now because he got a complete kind of shave. And his ears got cut. And he's got little bitty ears, so the big ones. But he's cute. He's really cute. I need to use the restroom. Yeah. And then I want to talk to you about card counting. Because we're going to Vegas, baby.
I'm down for it.
Next month.
Let's go.
We're going to Vegas.
I'm coming.
Yes. I want you to come. I'm
Let's
telling
fucking
you.
go.
May. Jess is singing. She got to sing for the
Oh.
week.
Oh,
But-
she gonna go to Vegas?
But yeah, but if you come, you got a place to stay because you've done it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So you know where
That's cool.
the townhome is or whatever.
Mhm,
If we can get away,
mhm.
if we can get away with it. But
Yeah,
let me
well,
read.
I know.
I'm gonna be right back, and we're
Okay.
gonna talk about it. But
All good.
but I'm gonna kill the casino with some roulette counting and some blackjack.
I'm about to say some blackjack. That's what.
All right, we're back.
We back. We in it.
Okay. So man, I started card counting
Okay.
about 7-8 years ago when that movie 21 came out, maybe
Mhm.
more. It came out and then I didn't watch it for a while, but I was on the road, so I'd hit up casinos every once in a while and go play some
Yeah.
blackjack. Do you know the high-low count? Do you know anything about card counting?
Yeah. I mean, I know a little bit about card. I don't card count, but I've always been interested in it, and I
Yeah.
know a lot. I know a lot of guys who do very well
Yeah.
in the casinos because of that concept. Of course, it's got to be extremely discreet and and done in the right way. But
Yeah.
I almost don't really know anyone who frequents the casino and makes a significant amount of money in playing like blackjack and things like that who don't count.
Correct, because the edge. So blackjack in itself, it's they have a 0.5% edge against you. So 49,
Yeah.
50, 50 and a half.
Yeah.
If you play perfect strategy,
Mhm.
and depending on how many decks you have,
Yeah.
it goes up. It goes to like 52 on a 6-8 deck in favor of the house. So
Sure.
48 in your favor, just because endless decks and things like that. So I like to play a 2-deck face down.
Yeah.
Game.
Yeah.
That's my game.
Okay.
But you have a limited amount of counting with that.
Mhm.
So I play a plus minus count. So
Okay.
the high-low count.
Sure.
And there's some great documentaries called Did you know that there was a church group? There's actually a documentary on Netflix called The Church Group, I believe it's called.
Okay.
And they talk about their millions of dollars that they've won. But what they do is they basically structure it like the mafia.
Okay.
And that there are bankers, so there's investors, and then from the investor down to the managers, then the managers down to the players. And the players will get a portion of the funds, and they make an hourly wage. So
Right.
they'll make money regardless. And this is where the honesty needs to come in, and a team play where there's a spotter, there's an elephant, there's these different terminologies for different people on the table. Sometimes an elephant is someone who's not counting, who really doesn't know how to count, but will play off of keywords
Sure.
of that
Sure.
higher, even though they don't even know the count
Yeah.
at all. So they're just like, they're not showing any of the signs of counting.
Of course.
But they're just but they're in the scheme or in the game, which is not illegal to do.
Sure.
They have a term called backing off, where the casino can back you off. They can't arrest you, number one.
But they can stop you from playing.
They can stop. They can say things like, we won't accept your money anymore. You can play any other game. We just don't want to accept you playing blackjack anymore. Right?
Yeah.
They can put your picture up on their board, but they can't arrest you. They can't call the cops. They can't threaten you like that, which they will. But the cops can't. They won't even arrest you because they'll just take you off the property. They can what's called trespass you. That's the only thing they can do. But then they have to have probable. Well, no, they don't even have to have probable cause. But it does take a lot to get to the trespassing side of things. Back in the day, the mafia who owned a lot of Vegas would take you out back and rough you up. They would. But no, it's a fun concept, but it's fucking hard, dude. It is hard as hell to play normal and to count and to keep that number in your head and to know where you are in the deck and what the true count is to the running count. And It's a lot of things. So drinking's kind of off the table.
Of
You can't
course.
get sloshed. But I found the speed count, which makes it a lot easier. So I use speed count more so, with some betting strategies, and I'll always win. I always end up winning some, and then I'll walk away before it's really noticeable. The last time I went to a casino, I did get noticed twice, but no one said anything other than the dealer. One dealer and one player. When the dealer, she was going on break, she says, basically, watch out. Like, you better watch out what you're doing. And I was like, what am I doing? She kind of just smirked at me and then went on her break. And that was it. And the other time at a different table, a guy was like, this dude's fucking counting, just out loud. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Counting. And nothing was done. So in no way have I ever been backed off. Because then you just mix it up. You just throw up high-low. So with a high-low count, so 2 through 6, okay, are your low cards.
Mm-hmm.
Those are your pluses. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
7, 8, 9s are zeros. They don't even count.
Yeah.
Anything 10 up to ace is a negative number.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So for anybody out there that wants to learn how to count, there's some great, Blackjack Apprenticeship is probably one of the best. They have an app where you can train and you can actually go through scenarios, and they it's $5 a year. It's cheap as fuck, but they give you a lot of the breakdown on different strategies of like what decks and then what the count is and what you do and the modifications. It's called a modify play. So you change your play. So you're going to double on certain things you wouldn't necessarily double on, or you can stand on certain things you would normally stand on depending on the count.
Sure.
So they show all that in this app. So I highly recommend checking out Jack Black Apprenticeship.
Jack Black.
Good. Now with that, they give you like the training ground for it, so you play it out, and then every 4 hands they may ask you what's the count.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
So
that's cool.
Another thing they taught me. This is the problem years ago that I ran into. It's like plus minus. So what they came up with, and maybe everyone's ever come up with this, I just didn't really think about it, is canceling. Okay. So you wait till all the cards come out, right? So you're playing with like 4 people.
Mm-hmm.
You wait till everybody's cards are out, even the dealers, and you look at the first 2, and it's a 2 and a 10.
Okay.
Don't just go past it because it's nothing. Because it's a negative positive, up and down.
Yeah.
It's back to 0.
Yeah.
So you're looking for anything that's lows, 2 lows or 2 highs to give your account, right? So I can look at a table immediately and be like, +2, like instant. Because he's got a 6 and a 2.
Yeah. That makes
+2.
That makes sense.
So he's got a 6 and a 2, and there's another guy that's got a 5 and a 6.
Gotcha.
So now we're at +4.
+4, yeah.
Because
1 through 6 is positive.
Right. Or they have 2 low, 2 high, and the count's still 0.
Sure.
That is the quickest way to know the count is to what's called cancelization. So canceling out cards that are counterintuitive to each other, a plus or a minus. And that speeds it up tremendously.
Sure.
You can actually accomplish the count.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fun.
Yeah, I can see that. I think when I learned how to play spades, that helped me with my blackjack, because with spades I had to really watch the table, especially for my partner, to know what these people had, what my partner has, and then how I should play offense or defense based upon what. Because if I'm not watching, then I'm just going to. I may throw out what looks like a good card, but if I don't know what this person has over here, it may be a good card in the theory of playing the game. But in this specific hand, this is the worst thing I could have done because I wasn't paying attention to what this guy threw out or what he had or what he's holding on to or whatever. And that really helped me with my blackjack game. Like I said, I can't count.
Yeah.
I've never counted, but it did help me be a little bit more aware of the table, because everything, you know, that they do or that they don't do has a potential impact on my success.
Yeah. I don't care about what other people do, because
Mm-hmm.
let's say they fuck up one hand
Mm-hmm.
in the scheme of that one hand. The next hand you might get a 21. So
Sure.
you wouldn't have gotten it if
Yeah.
they were messing with it. So it is really random. And
Mm-hmm.
I've let that go out of my head to care
Mm-hmm.
what other people do. I just play my hand
Mm-hmm.
and only my
Mm-hmm.
hand.
Have you ever pissed somebody off with a hand that you played?
Yeah, because if the count is in a good position and a positive, a true count of 5 or 6, then I'm going to raise my bet, or I'm going to stand on some 15s when I wouldn't necessarily stand, or 16, which I don't stand. But when it's in a super positive number, my likelihood to get a face card is higher.
Higher, yeah.
So I'm sitting there watching they got a 7 or 8 or 9, and I got a 14 or 15, and I'm like, I'm just gonna take the chance. I know I'm gonna bust, but
Mm-hmm.
maybe it makes them bust,
Yeah.
in a certain scenario, or they,
Mm-hmm.
they may have a 9 and a 4. Like let's hope those odds. So you're just taking the odds there, and so not taking it, but then it doesn't work out, and they got a 19, and now you
Mm-hmm.
just freaking, rolled the table, and the first guy at first base is like, now coming out with a shitty card or something, but you're like,
Sure.
it doesn't matter, like,
Yeah.
in the scheme of it.
Yeah.
But I watch that closely. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
piss people off, so I like to find like the higher limit tables, $50
Sure.
hands, $100 hands, because then
Mm-hmm.
those people really don't. They're kind of all doing the same thing,
Yeah,
but you want to
they're
pay
the win.
perfect strategy.
Yeah, they're the win. They're not pissed off because they lost $20 on that hand yesterday.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So yeah, we're gonna head out to Vegas, which I haven't been there in a while, and so take my chances out there
Man, heck
with
yeah.
some. There's a strategy which a lot of people say is ridiculous. It's called negative progression in the betting
Okay.
strategy world. Have you heard of that?
No.
Negative progression. Okay, so negative progression is bet the minimum. So come up with a unit. A unit of measure is minimum bet. Let's say it's $10.
Mm-hmm.
So it's 1 unit. So every single hand bet 1 unit until you lose, and then double the unit. So now there's 2 units. Now there's 4 units. Now there's 8 units. So now you're at $80, right? At 8 units. But what you do is once you win everything you lost back plus the first unit plus $10.
Sure.
So you can never lose,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Your money,
Mm-hmm.
as long as your purse
Ultimately, can't lose.
because your purse is deep, and you just keep doubling your losses until
Yeah.
you win back everything you lost,
Yeah.
and your minimum bet. Now, this is where the casino is smart. They put a maximum amount on a table, so you have a min and a max. And what they do is they put it at 7 hands. Pretty much every single table is 7 hands.
Yeah.
Now, the closer you get to 7 hands, your odds in winning go up, because the odds of losing 7 hands in a row is very low, which I don't think I've ever lost 7 hands in a row.
I might not have lost 3 or 4 in a row. Like
That's what I'm saying. Like, so
Seven.
but you got to have a deep, deep, deep pocket to get to 7 hands in a row, even off a $10 minimum, which is not really heard of anymore. Except it's like a Tuesday at lunch or something.
Sure.
Even Lake Charles, you're not going in there less than $15 to $25 a hand minimum.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's where they get you, and that negative progression gets a bad rap for that reason. But I like it.
Yeah.
And so I use a negative progression quite often. I'll come in and out of that play of betting strategy because I see the benefit in it. But sometimes I'll just feel it and go back to, I'll win it and then just stay, and then I won't double.
Mhm.
And then it not always it works out. I'm like, shit, I should have fucking doubled it. I would have won it, But I don't always have the purse that's deep enough to cover,
Sure.
$5,000 to $7,000 on a $10 bet, that it plays.
Right.
So, and then there's a new thing that just popped up on all my feeds: roulette strategies to roulette.
Never.
Okay.
Never heard of
it. I've been studying because I'm like, I wanna do some roulette. It's fun to play with people, and
hey, the roulette table gets lit.
Yes. Okay. So there's people that basically rank strategies on here. Okay. There are some strategies where, okay, so you have the numbers, right? You have the numbers, which are all the numbers through 36. I think it's 36 or 30, 38 or 39. But then your next row is what's called the dozen. So 1 through 12, 13 through 24, 24 through 37 or whatever it is. So that's called your dozen. Those are a 3-to-1 odd. And then your next level is your odds and evens and your colors, right?
Yeah.
Your outside. Those are 1-for-1. Or sorry, 2-to-1. And then the numbers are sometimes 5-to-1 and so on. Then you have what's called a street. I didn't know all this shit until I started researching. But you bet on the street, on the row, and you're betting on every number 1 through 39, 49, whatever it is. The next row, and the next row, and the next row.
Mm-hmm.
So the strategies, a lot of the strategies are betting on the dozens and a couple of the rows, and you're covering every number except 00 and maybe 36, 38, 36, like 3 numbers at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And your payout every single time is like 50, 25 or 50, 25 or 50 every single time. And sometimes more than that, depending on where it hits. But yeah, I'm excited about that. I'm like, I got like 3 or 4 strategies on the roulette, and we're going in May. So May 28th through the 1st.
Okay.
Hop on a plane, man.
Hop on a plane. Well, my birthday's on the 30th, so maybe we'll bring my ass on out there.
B, come on, man.
Yeah, I'll ask Marie. I'll ask her. I'll actually
ask Marie.
See what.
Come on out.
Because I love the casino. I when I was younger, nobody in the church knew, but I used to kind of depend on my little blackjack winnings for I would go to Lake Charles 2 or 3 times a week because I was right there in Beaumont. So I just go straight Lake Charles, come right back. I'd be at the Golden Nugget all of 30 minutes. I'd go in there and win $200 or $300 at the blackjack table and get the fuck out of there. I'd do that 2 or 3 times a week. I'd come out with like $600 to $800 a week going just. Yeah, I would never. I've never won any big money in blackjack, but I've won little burst of money that added up over time.
Right.
Yeah.
Man,
I love it.
You're surprising me on a few things. I did not know this about you. That's why I love this podcast, man. This dynamic.
Bro,
I'm so grateful for you.
And this things, yeah.
I'm so grateful. But yeah, I love learning new things. I did not know that. That's crazy.
I know. Speaking of new.
What?
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, speaking of the gambling side, I got a new friend I want you to meet, Sean. This dude is the luckiest motherfucker I have ever met. He will go into casino and not walk out with anything less than 6, 7, 8, 10.
Some people have it, bro.
He'll go up to. He's like, the most I've won on slots, 44,000. I mean, like, what the hell? You know what he does? He goes, I will go to high limits, and I'll just wait, play my time, like maybe do a couple little small slots, watch someone that drops like $2,000 in a machine, and then go hop on that machine.
Absolutely.
Right after them. Right after them. And he's like, I'll pretty much hit most of the time.
All day long. I think I've won. No, I don't think I know. The most I've won on a slot machine is $2,000 because I like to play the slots. But the most I've won, I was playing the Monopoly Wheel of Fortune one, and I was down to like my last $5. I was max betting everything, so it's just like boom, boom, and I was down to the last $5, and man, that thing hit the jackpot. Bobby was with me, $2,000, and he said, "Take that goddamn ticket out the machine and let's fucking go." He said, "You are stressing me the fuck."
Let's fucking go. I can hear Bobby saying that.
I was like 8 or 9, but I was like, shit, I'm too far in to let it go right now. But once I hit it, he grabbed that fucking ticket. He said, "Let's go. Stop.
Let's get the fuck out of here." No, what were you about to say?
So I went to church last Sunday.
Oh, all right. Tell me about it.
Yeah, I went to church. At the Cosmic Church of Truth.
Cosmic Church. Oh, all right. So, all right. I'm not even going to assume I know anything about it because I don't. Tell me give me the elevator pitch.
Well, first of all, they fall under the spiritualist metaphysical. So it's all Reiki stuff and chakras and mediums and soul traveling and all of that stuff. Now, I've always been open to a lot of those things. I've studied a lot of it kind of got me in trouble as time went on with my walk in the church, because as pastors and leaders got wind, because they're like, this dude, he talks just a little too free and liberated to only be looking at biblical stuff. I was always into New Age stuff. I read a lot of Dr. Joseph Murphy. There's a guy named Neville Goddard that I read a lot of. Just really, really good stuff. I went into that church, and it was the first time in a long time that I've walked into an environment, especially a spiritual environment, and was not an authority on something. Now, again, I've studied New Age stuff and all those things, but I don't consider myself an authority on that stuff. Right. I know enough to be dangerous. So I went in, I told myself, I said, you know what? I'm gonna go in with no preconceived notions, no ideas, whatever. I'm just gonna go and just see what it's like. So I went, sat in the back, and man, it was phenomenal. There was probably a group of, I was the only black person in there. There's probably a group of about 30 people, most of them older too, which was very surprising for me. I'm talking about like the median age was probably like 55. Like they were up there. Yeah. And lady gave a talk. Church started at 10:30.
Was there singing?
No singing.
No singing. All right.
Yeah. No singing.
Maybe you need a songwriter.
Yeah, I don't listen. I don't know what I would do, because there's Christians in there, there's Buddhists in there, there's Hindus in there, there's people who are in astrology.
Lauren Daigle, just sing Lauren Daigle song. I mean, she's on the edge. She never says Jesus or God. She just.
I'm gonna go sing "Baptize Me, Jesus." Baptize me, Jesus. I really appreciated the experience, because I was in there with all these people from all these different walks of life. Like there's this one guy, sorry, I lied. There's one black guy in there, a little bit older than me. And they were asked after the lady got up and spoke, which she was really good. She was an engineer for the military. She worked on their airplanes to get them ready, for flight and everything. She had a really, really good story. It was incredible. This guy, he starts talking about some of the things that he's experiencing, because she made us close our eyes and she made us like go to a happy place.
Okay. Yeah.
So for me, it was my grandparents' house in Alexandria. I loved to be at my grandparents' house in Alexandria. That's where I was. This is not where that guy was. This guy was on like planet, Anawana, and he's like, I'm half cat and half horse and half this and half that, and I'm from this planet, I'm this and that. And my mind automatically wanted to start judging. I was like, this is the craziest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life. But then I realized, I was like, bro, you used to run around the church, lay hands on people, speak in tongues, fall out, do all of this stuff. Like, you're just as fucking nuts as this guy is. Like, if he's nuts, you're fucking nuts. Like,
Right.
but it was so cool because nobody batted an eye, dude. Everybody
Yeah.
was like, yeah, that's really good. I'm glad that you're, open to that, or that you're experiencing that. And everybody started sharing their stuff. None of it similar. Everything unique to the individual that was speaking. And I just thought it was so refreshing and so freeing to be in an environment to where this guy can literally talk about being, a half alien, half human, half horse, half cat from some fucking planet.
Yeah.
And feel safe enough
Right.
to and know that he was going to be supported. And I just thought that was just the coolest thing. Church started at 10:30. By 11:10, we were out of there.
Yeah.
It was crazy. I ain't never been no 40-minute church service in my life. And
that's wild.
And yeah, it was so good. And because Marie and I have been talking about what the role of spirituality is in our individual lives, and then in our lives collectively.
Yeah.
Marie was not raised in church, but she would probably tell you that if she was to identify as anything, would be a Christian by default. But Marie's all into astrology and things of that nature too. And of course, she's got her psych degree and yada yada yada. And I asked her the other day, I was like, "What do you think? What would it look like if we started to maybe go to a place? We don't have to go every week, but just go to a place with people that are pursuing some similar things that we're pursuing, and would that hurt us, or would that help us? Would anything? Nothing at all." And I just think it for me and her, because of I've had to allow myself to say, okay, you know what? If I am walking this walk with her, then I need to find the common ground, so that we can always be on the same page, especially since I'm very open to these things now.
Yeah.
I've always been open, but now I'm like publicly open,
Right.
and whatnot. And it's been a really, really, really cool journey. I joined the Kabbalah Center online, which most folks don't know what Kabbalah is, but it's the mystic teachings of the Jewish faith, and yada yada yada. People like Ariana Grande attribute a lot of their success to that. Like, she was looking for a church when she was growing up, and her brother's gay, so of course the Christian thing wasn't going to work out, and they opened up a Kabbalah center. She's from somewhere down in like West Palm area or somewhere like that, and they opened up a center down there, and she started going, and like the principles and stuff that they taught her, she says she attributes a lot of her success to those things. Yeah, so I just thought that was really cool. So she and I are in the process of just trying to figure out where we belong, where all of that belongs. So it's really exciting because it looks a lot different than what I've always been a part of, but it's kind of what I've always been open to as well.
Right.
And it's cool to be in a place in my life to where I feel free enough and bold enough to go do that. And of course, I got so many. I put it up on Instagram the other day that I was there. I just tagged them and just put the name of the church. And I'm sure you can imagine the amount of people that came into my Instagram, in my inbox, and were like, "Isn't that the church where where they're like psychics and mediums, and they're in astrology and astro projecting and this and that?" It's like, isn't that all the stuff that the Bible says we should be against? And I was like, are you asking me, or are you telling me? Because I'm telling you, most of those people who say that, they don't have a fucking clue what the Bible says. Any of those things. They don't have a fucking clue what the Bible says about the shit that they think they're doing. Nonetheless, the shit that they don't know. And but I just thought it was cool that I could be in the room where a guy was thinking, guy really believes that that he was an alien or some sort in his past life or whatnot, and that he's here and that he's there, and that everybody just supported him, because why the fuck not? Why couldn't that be possible?
Yeah.
Like, who says? Who the fuck knows? And this is what I've come to. We had a visitor come by the house the other day, and they didn't know I used to pastor. And so she asked me, what's your view on spirituality? And tell me if you agree with this or not. But I think this is where I've come to. I think spirituality is as unique to an individual as your fingerprint. And here's the reason why. You live with yourself all day long, Joel. You feel your thoughts, you hear your thoughts, you feel your emotions and all of these things. Nobody knows the bounds of what you're experiencing in yourself all day long like you do, including what things move you spiritually, what things you're drawn to, what things you're magnetized to, you know, what things you want to go and pursue. All those things are within you. That has nothing to do with anybody else at all. And I just think that the spiritual walk that we have, it needs to be personal and intimate first. And as you start to understand where you're going, I think the universe will start to bring people in your path that are of like mind, pursuing similar things, maybe not the same thing, but pursuing similar things. And as a result, you end up finding a little, like, I didn't know this place existed, but I found this little community because it's what I'm pursuing currently. But for someone to tell somebody that this is how you should believe and this is what you should be doing, I just think that's such a personal thing when it comes to you and God, the universe, infinite intelligence, infinite, whatever you want to call it. I just think it's such an individual thing. And I feel like I've allowed myself not only to influence people in one way, but also to allow myself to allow others to influence such a personal and intimate decision. And so I've decided I'm going to keep a lot of that to myself as I'm figuring out who I am and where I am in this season in my life. And then as I start to speak, I think that those that want to hear what I'm saying will be drawn to that. But it's speaking from a place of this is what I'm experiencing, this is where I'm at.
Exactly.
Not this should be doing, and this is the way you should be thinking.
Exactly. Right? Yeah. No. You know, while you were saying that, the image came in my head that religion should be like a restaurant that is catering to all groups. Mm-hmm. Imagine you go into a restaurant and you know it's a bar and grill. It's great food. You get fed. But you can get Mexican food there. You can get a burger. You can get a steak. Get some chicken. You can do kind of what you want in what works for you in that moment. What do you need? And it's not structured like, let's just put them on blast. The Catholic Church where everybody gets the same meal.
Yeah.
And you do these things and maybe you're fed that way, but maybe you're not. And you're just going along with emotions and you don't even like their restaurant and you might go once a year, but you're not going every week because it doesn't quench your thirst nor your appetite for what you need in your life. And you know my stance. I mean, I was raised Christian. Now this is I'd say the struggle, not the struggle, but I say I dare to ask, but I know in myself to be true, is that you can be a Christian but not believe that Jesus was God and died for your sins. But you can still follow Christ in his teachings and what he brought to the masses and people and what he told.
Agreed.
Because if you really break it down, there's a lot of nuances and in a lot of the words.
Yeah.
You know, where he says, when you see me, you've seen the Father.
Yes, sir.
But man is made in God's image.
Yes, sir.
We're made in his image. So is Jesus any different than you? So when you've seen you, have you not seen the Father?
Absolutely. That's what he's trying to show you.
That's what he's trying to show you, right?
The first fruit of
that's what I get from it.
Absolutely.
You know, and then the interpretation of man's twist on a few things to manipulate, you know, and to make it in a sense of control through biblical texts to control the masses is where it kind of loses me. But if you just take it as parables and a way to look at and say, yes, this was a great man.
Yeah.
Who tried to bring love and compassion and non-judgment to human civilization.
Yeah.
In a major time of our existence of lack of those things, because
I agree.
Everyone was out for survival.
I agree.
When you don't have food, your survival mechanism kicks in. You're very animalistic. And so, in that time, it just wasn't a thing to be compassionate and
No.
giving and being like, here, let me give up this most precious thing that I have.
Mm-hmm.
This really expensive oil, in these representations of things. So I consider myself Christ follower, Christian, living in the bounds of the rules of the universe and, human existence in our flesh. Right.
Yeah.
But then you step into another world when you talk about spiritual, right?
Right.
That's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
That's not the same to me.
No.
It's two different worlds, right? It's two different dimensions, if we're going to call it that.
Absolutely.
I think there's just two different dimensions. And so, no, I want to hear more about that because I'm interested in those conversations and how they came out, what led you to, to go there, because I know myself that I can be in positions and just consume knowledge without judgment, which is a trait that a lot of people don't have. And that's it's a learned trait. It's not something I don't think most people are born with, because it's a survival mechanism to define what you believe with your tribe, with your family. So you start with your family unit, and then you start with political, then you start with maybe your school. This is why we have rivalries in like football. It's so apparent across our industry. Someone works for this company, I work for this company. So there's like this little part of you that's like, I live in this neighborhood, you live in that neighborhood. It's very animalistic, it's tribalistic to our early ancestors. And so people do the same thing with churches. Religion is one of the largest and the most prominent issues with tribalism.
Yeah.
And when you can step out of that and be like, wow, I can listen to every single person and consume something worth keeping in my arsenal of knowledge, I think that's crucial. It's crucial.
Yeah, no, I agree. To be able to be in a space where this, and I tell people this all the time, it's like sometimes you have to tell your mind, because your mind is going to have an opinion on everything. I don't care who you are. It doesn't even matter if you care about it or not. If you look at something here across the street, your mind's gonna go, why is that white? I don't give a fuck why that's white, but my mind is going to say something. And I've had to learn how to say, you don't even have enough information to formulate an opinion about what you're looking at or what you're thinking on right now. Just shut up and which is again why I wanted to go there, because I knew, I'm telling you, every time I go into a Christian church, I'm judging it. I ain't gonna lie. Not in a negative, nasty way, but I've been in it so long that, I mean, just the smell of it starts to just piss me off. Like so I was like, you know what? Let me get out of a place that I already know. I've already formulated my opinions on it based upon years and years of experiences and whatever. Let me come into a place where I don't really know anything. And let me sit down and be a student. Let me learn from people that other folks would be like, why are you listening to that? But these people, the Bible says there's treasures in earthen vessels. And I believe every single individual, wherever they are and whatever they're doing, has something. We're not here by accident. Whether it was a bang, whether God's a programmer and he put all this shit together, whatever it is, it's not by accident. And each individual that's here, they carry something. Like there's a purpose behind that. And so I've always felt this way. I've always lived my life this way, but I'm trying to eat all the more, just be open and receptive to learning. Like, one example, my dog, back to the goddamn dog. My dog has taught me so much about patience, about endurance, about compassion. It showed me that I had a little bit of a temper in me that I didn't even know existed. Like that. And I'm telling you, like I had to ask I'm trying not to even like I didn't think this was that deep for me, but like I was even thinking like I'm acting this way towards this dog. Does that mean I would act this way towards my kids? Like I'm sitting there learning
Yeah.
from my $5 dog that I got from the goddamn pound. But he's taught me, he just he's teaching me so much about myself, and it's just a dog.
Yeah.
Like so much to learn from everything that's around us. And for us, I heard this quote years ago: a mind full of conclusions has no room for expansion.
Exactly.
And so I'm in the process and pursuing things as if I don't even know what the hell talking about or what the hell that I'm doing, because I want to be a sponge. I want to be able, like the Bible says, I became all things to all men, that I might win or that I might be able to connect with some of them.
Yeah.
I kind of just think that's where I'm at.
This is and it's very I mean I'm enthusiastic about what you're saying, because it all leads back, man. It's like the foundation of every next thing in your life is the decluttering of your mind, which is the separation of you and your thoughts and coming back to the moment and being present, because you can't be judgmental in the moment. You can't. It's impossible to be judgmental in the moment, because you can't. Judgment is only in your mind, and then you expel it through neurons who then tell you to. So then you have to think about it and what you're going to say, and then you get judged if you're going to give it out. You can think judgment, and no one ever knows that judgment, but it's still there. It's still cluttering up the moment. And so being in the moment, experiencing all the things in every situation. I've had a talk recently with a person who believes Sharia law should be in the United States, and they're very like cordial in their heart about it. They're just like, yeah, it's great. People don't understand it. And I'm like, tell me more. I literally sat there for an hour plus, just asking questions, giving no judgment of what they were saying, but asking questions that led down little paths that they had hard ways of answering them. Once, it wasn't like I was trying to bait them in any way. I was just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you said this. Now I'm just going to ask a question from what you just said. And now what about this? And then let them go. And then let them go. Let them go. Learned a lot. Still don't think it's a great thing.
And doing it.
And it shouldn't happen. But maybe I made him think with the questions that I asked, instead of saying that's dumb, or I don't believe that, or whatever. It's just more consuming the knowledge and then asking questions. Give me more. Give me more about this element of it. Give me more, and let them continue to go. And that works negatively. It works in something that you wanna pinpoint the stupidity of.
Mm-hmm.
And it works in the positive things, which is being a student of something without judgment of it. Doesn't mean, and this is what people have a hard time. You posted that, right? Their assumption is that you're in it, and you're like down the road, and you're like, I'm just here just to listen. And so they're doing exactly what you're doing, the alternative of. They're judging of the unknown completely. And you're like,
I
what
agree.
do? Do you respond? Do you not respond? Do you just say, give them a thumbs up? I don't know. Like,
I you know what? I'm learning not to. Well, I never really was a big responder anyway.
Yeah.
Because it goes back to what we talked about a few episodes ago, is that I feel like that's incredibly reactive. When
responding is reactive.
Not intentional. And so, for me, I've just learned that people are going to have their opinion, they're going to have their thoughts, and whatever. And I was speaking to a business coach the other day about my carnivore stuff and whatnot, kind of trying to take that to the next level and whatnot. And one thing he said to me, which really stuck to me, he said, bro, if you don't get anything off this call, let me tell you two things. He said, number one, he said, you need to be okay with everyone not liking what you have to say.
Exactly.
And be okay with that. He said, I look at your stuff. He said, bro, you're sharp. I was like, keep it coming, keep it coming. You're sharp. You look good. You speak well, blah, 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 this and that. He said, but your problem is, he said, this is free. Your problem is I can still see that you're trying to reach across.
You raise people.
You're trying to, on both sides, you're trying to keep the peace. He said, and the marketplace is so noisy. He said, you have to be polarizing. You don't have to be disgusting, but you have to be so about something.
Yeah.
You don't ever have to talk about what you're not about. He said, you just need to be about what you're about and let the chips fall where they may. He said, you're going to end up being a person where somebody either turns you all the way up or turns you all the way down. He said, and you just need to be okay with that. You need to be okay with the fact that everybody's not going to agree with you. He said, you need to be delivered from people pleasing. You need to be delivered from the opinions of other people. And you need to live your life the way that you feel you should live your life. And one of those things for me was the fact the Bible says that we entertain angels unaware. And with that in mind, I have learned, I've never dismissed people, but I am intentionally trying to be attentive to each individual that comes in my path that I end up having some sort of conversation with. Because like I said, everyone's got a treasure that they can give to this world. And just like my dog, like, remember when Jesus was talking to them, he said, if at the well, he said, if you really knew who I was, you'd be asking me for a drink of water.
Yeah.
I feel like my dog was like, if you really knew who you were talking to, you'd be asking me to help you with some of the things that you need. And he has, because God is in everything. It's in the damn trees. It's in the cats outside. It's in every human being that we know. And so I'm just at this portion of my life. I called last year my Jesus year. I was 33. They say Jesus died when he was 33, all I said. And I feel like I got the fuck crucified out of me last year. And as I come to the end of that, like you said, something has to be decluttered in order for you to be able to establish something new. Or like the Bible, something has to die in order for something else to come to live. That seed has to die in the ground before it could spring up something that's profitable. Or something that's beneficial to you. And so I feel like last year, and as I come to my birthday in the next month, I feel like there's a portion of me that I'm finally okay with just letting it be. That's what I was. I don't talk about what I used to do, where I used to sing, where I used to preach, where I used to go, who I used to do, because that's what I did. That's not what I'm doing. That's not who I am right now. And a double-minded man, it says, is going to be unstable in every single thing that he does. And so for me, I'm like, I'm making the decision to, I even in my feed, Joel, my Instagram feed, my Facebook feed, I've started to unfollow stuff. I've started to, they give you the option. Do you want to see more of this? I said, fucking no, because every time I've got 15, years on social media. So that algorithm is fit to me in that former life. Everything I turn on is church. Everything I turn is a praise break or a worship this and a worship that. And I realized, I was like, that's not who I am anymore. So I need to start pursuing the things that I want to be, that I'm gravitating towards, instead of allowing myself to be brought back into yesteryear every single time I turn my phone on, or every single time I've stopped talking to people, not because I'm better than them, but I've got to move beyond where I've been so that I can get to where I'm going. And like they always say, you can't grab something with your fist closed. And I was trying to carry, or like a rocket ship, the higher it goes, the more shit starts to fall off. And for me, I've been trying to hold on to things while also moving forward. And it just doesn't fucking work. Doesn't fucking work at all.
No.
I've had to completely let things die. I'm not bringing the Christian Pentecostal pastor anymore. I'm just not. And it's okay. And if people want to continue to identify you as that, that's their choice. But I have a choice to make, to say, this is where I'm going, this is where I'm moving, this is who I am, and that's just it. And so if I find myself in a church where a guy thinks he's an alien, then that's just where I'm at, and it's okay.
Yeah, it is. And this is my biggest, not problem, but I want to, I guess, give it out to an awareness, is that we have these moments in life. We have dreams, people.
Yeah.
They're crazy dreams. And you had it. You had it.
Yeah.
You were the alien, or you were the person that was on the train that was rolling over ice in the North Pole with Johnny Bravo sitting next to you. Like, my brother came up in the dream the other day. He's been dead for many, many years now, over 10 years. Yeah. But he was there like me and you. Yeah. And when I woke up and I told Jess about it, I was like, it was so good to see him. It was great to see him. My father was there too, who's passed. Yeah. And it was so good to see him. Yeah. Jess didn't look at me like, you're crazy. But then you put it in a scenario of a situation where someone's awake and he has this central moment of his happy place, and he describes somewhere off this earth, and then it's woo-woo. Like, was my dream woo-woo? No, my dream was emotionally special and touchy.
That's my point. It goes back to what I was saying. Spirituality is individual first. It is. Because and the problem with a lot of people, regardless of what religion you are, is that we take experiences and make them gospel. Yes. That's the problem. We think that because I had this type of experience, that this is the way God wants to communicate to every other human being on this planet. So we write books, not about facts, not about Bible. We write books about our experiences. And now we have people chasing individual experiences, and they're failing because those experiences are unique to the individuals that are having them. Not saying that you can't experience it either, but that your pursuit should not be what somebody else's pursuit is as far as the spiritual walk is. Because just like we learn different, we speak different, we have different accents, you're drawn to different things. Why would you take somebody else's blueprint and say, this is how this is how I want to identify spiritually. Right. Especially about spirituality, when it's all said and done, is very speculative. You know, one thing that I've had to learn to do is to spend a lot of time dealing with things that I can manage and measure, things that are built on fact. I've preached for years, convincing people that they needed to be saved because they would go to hell if they didn't be saved. They weren't saved. Who the fuck knows though, Joel? I mean, that's so speculative based on the book or whatever. You know what I do know? That if I make 200 phone calls for my job, I can probably make more money this month. Yeah. That's like a for sure thing. That's something I can measure and I can manage. But all of the things that I focus so much on in my life, and a lot of things that most people focus on, are things that are just speculative, things that you can't measure, things that you can't manage, things that you can't watch and, you know, and maintain and all of those things. And so, you know, I remember one time Marie and I think I told you this before, we were outside offering up incense to the gods. Yeah. And I remember I looked up and I said, what the fuck is the point of all these stars and the planets and this and that? Like, what's the purpose of it? And it's like myself spoke to myself and said, well, what the fuck does it matter? You can't do anything. What does it matter? Like what like the fucking moon is going to do what the moon is going to do, regardless of what you think or what you know about it. Right. What you do have control of is how you treat your girl.
Exactly.
Why don't you focus on that? What you do have control of is is going out and making a living. Why don't you go be better at that? Why don't you go be better at your relationship with your family? Or like the things that you can control. Stop all the speculating, because that's where depression and anxiety comes from. Because I've got too many things in my mind that I have no control of whatsoever. And I think that's what the Bible meant when it said bringing every thought into subjection, so that I'm not ruled by the winds that change my thoughts all fucking day long. I just
accepting
focus.
everything for what it is.
Yes.
You have to accept every situation.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
You get a flat tire. What's the point of complaining about the flat tire? Fucking change it. Let's go. Get going. And maybe while you're driving from that point, hey, maybe we avoided a wreck.
Maybe
we did.
Maybe.
You know, so everything. So I look at, my speculation is string theory to a different level.
Yeah.
That we are also strings in interactions, and every action we take is creates a string to intersect and act with another human being.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
And with that, every single thing we do can be a good or consequential thing to someone else or ourselves.
Sure.
But all you can control is your actions.
That's it. That's all I can do.
That's it. You can just be part of the web of interactions with everything around you. You know, do you walk by and rip up flowers, or do you leave it alone? You know, do you kick a dog, or do you every little thing should come out of a position of acceptance, and what is my actions going to consequence? What's the consequence of my actions? Is it going to be a positive or negative? I'm reading a book right now. It's called The 48 Laws of Power.
I've read it.
This book is dark. It's dark, but I'm getting some positive things out of it, because you can twist it and be like, oh, that makes sense. This makes sense, because it's anecdotal to situations that happened in the past. I mean, going back thousands of years through the stories of these individuals, from Napoleon to the dynasty in Asia, to like across every situation. So I think I'm on like numbers 4. I'm early in the book. Let's talk about like don't hire your don't hire your friends. Hire your enemies to work with you and things like that if you're in a position of power. But I think you can take things that are considered evil, and what you do with that can be a positive thing out of it. Whether you don't do that because now you know, or you use something for good to benefit others.
You can use that dark power in a positive way. I mean, just everybody's got that dark side. I think like guys like Michael Jordan and stuff talk about that.
Yeah.
Like when it's time to play, he's like, I'm tapping into I'm about to dominate some shit.
Yeah.
That's not some fluffy rainbows and unicorn bullshit. I'm here to fucking tear up some shit.
Oh, I love everything you said, man. I'm so happy to hear like where you've come to your conclusions and how you're thinking about those transitions in your life.
Yeah.
From letting go of the past, right? Which is acceptance. I kind of go back to the story in The Power of Now, where he basically talks about the guy in quicksand. And he says, you can be in quicksand, and everybody that passes you sees you as the guy in quicksand. They're not helping you get out of it, because you've just always been the guy in quicksand. Yeah. So now you've created calluses to your thoughts that other people have done it too, which is like, oh, that's just normal. It's kind of like walking past a person in New York City that's homeless. Come put that person on my street by my house. Yeah. And I'm walking out there saying, hey, man, can I help you? What can I do for you? But we will get tunnel vision, and even though we don't live in New York, if we travel there, we can get into it very quickly. That
Yeah.
this is just how it's
Just
it's
how it
done.
is.
Just
Yeah.
how it is. And we go along with it. We fall into these patterns very quickly as humans because we're looking for confirmation. And our confirmation bias is also built with the people we're around.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you kind of said you're just going to be you with everything you do. Let me challenge you on something. Just ask your opinion on it, not challenge.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
So, this is my perspective on that. Being myself fully is when I'm giving the information, and if you want to listen to it or not, you can.
1,000.
If I'm at dinner with a friend, I may hold back the fullness of and ask more questions, get information from them, but maybe not be the domineering driver of, well, this is what I think you should do.
1,000%.
Do this, do that. So I see a balance in those two things. It's when if you want to come listen to me, then I'm gonna no holds bar, be in a niche, be controversial, straightforward.
Yeah.
But in the alternative, I think there's a power in withholding some things.
I agree. I'm not going to walk out his house who didn't invite me in.
Exactly. If they say in that, is there, what would you do? Or how would you handle this? Then fully, I will give them my opinion.
Yeah.
No holds bar. But without those opening the door to them wanting your opinion, or which, because I say that we're teaching our kids right now, really, it's so evident in this age group, this 7, 8, 9. You got to understand opinions.
Yeah.
Your opinion is not my opinion.
Sure.
So this is new to me, teaching a little human being to understand what their opinion is, and it's not fact.
Yeah.
And you don't have to give me your opinion in a factual basis all the time. Now, if I ask you, what do you think? You don't have to say, well, in my opinion. You say, well, I think this. And that's assuming that that's your opinion. Right? And if you want to throw some facts out there, like give me some numbers, give me some like literature on like where to look it up, things like that, then you're crossing over, this is what I think because of these things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wholeheartedly agree with that. So let me preface that. When I say just owning up to who I am, that is independent of what anybody else feels or what anybody else thinks. Like I don't have a point to prove to anybody but myself. My old pastor told me this one time, and I thought it was really good. Growing up, especially in the country where some of my family were from, if you were using a water hose, we didn't have the fancy, nozzle. So what you did was, if you were washing something or trying to spray something, you take your thumb, you put it,
or your
because
index.
Because that stream, you've got that stream, it's running, but without intentional direction. It's just a stream. It's a nuisance. It's going to puddle up here, put mud all over there, get things wet that doesn't even need to be wet or wasn't meant to be wet.
Yeah.
If I can put my thumb on that stream,
that's good.
Into places where it needs to be. And so for me, like for instance, I do my carnivore stuff. It changed my life. I don't have one family member, that even halfway eats. And you know what? When I'm around them, unless they ask me something specific, I don't talk about it. Because number one, it's not my audience. Even Jesus, even the Bible tells about Jesus that he couldn't even do any miracles because they didn't even want him there. Like he was like, all right, well, I'm out this bitch. And so for me, like, my family doesn't do it. My friend, a lot of my friends don't do it. My girlfriend doesn't do it. And it's okay. Like, this is my walk. This is, and there are people that are called to me that I'm called to. And those people, I'll give them all the information that their freaking hearts can desire.
Yeah.
That the heart can contain. But if they didn't ask me, I'm really, I don't have to give you my opinion.
No.
I don't have to. I'd rather listen to you because you listen. You might have something that I need to hear.
Yeah.
So I already know my shit. Let me shut the fuck up and give you the opportunity to speak. And then, I can do with it what I decide to do with it. But I think being yourself is freedom from having to prove who you are to somebody else. You don't need to come to my side. You don't have to, and that's another thing. The business coach is like, no, you don't have to talk about veganism and be against veganism. Just be so for carnivore that everybody knows you're not a fucking vegan. Yeah. And that's that's just the plot that I've taken. I've decided that the things that I'm for, I'm going to talk about them and express them in the ways that I see fit to express them. And those who want to hear it, those who want to be a part of it, they'll be there. And those who don't, it's fucking okay. Exactly. It's okay.
And man, we're living in such a time, and it takes me to this. What other point in our human existence could two guys that did not have platforms of being a writer or being able to publish a book or being in a newspaper or anything that we can get together and spend 2 hours and 19 minutes talking about what we want to talk about. And if no one listens, I don't give a fuck.
Don't give a fuck. We got it out our chest, got it off our chest and not our mind.
Because it feeds us, right? And if you want to get on that and listen and be involved in it, great. But if not, it doesn't hurt anything to put it out there. So we're living in an amazing time that normal human beings can have a platform to put it out there and to get an audience and to be part of something big.
I agree. This has been so free and refreshing for me.
I know. I've been missing. I mean, it was like, what, a week and a half that we couldn't do this because I was out of town, and yeah, I just love it, man. Without you, I was telling Jess this, like, just having the balance of another human being that believes in something and isn't as enthusiastic as you is such a comforting thing for us, which I recognize is tribalism in its truest form of like confirmation, right?
Yeah.
But also, to me, it's the recognizing that is the enlightenment to it, because it is a tool. It is useful. It is very useful. Goes so far in one direction, and they get into it where they live in that tribalism and they don't even recognize it as being tribalism. That's the negative part of it. So everything in our life we can use, just like you said, using some of the dark for a positive thing. It's recognizing it through separating yourself from your thoughts to say, no, in this moment, this is a positive attribute of collective confirmation, right? We're not always going to agree on everything.
Sure.
But the collective confirmation that we are doing something that's positive, which is being ourselves. And
agreed.
In a platform that we can present things that we want to talk about, whatever it is. We've covered how many different subjects in this damn podcast?
A ton.
From you know, getting chased by the mafia, the Italian mafia, to counting cards in Vegas and
cosmic.
I love that, man. I'm taking a moment to focus in on my dreams. Lately, my dreams have been crazy revealing. And this last week, just on vacation, where I didn't have to wake up with a alarm, it was very comforting to me to not wake up with an alarm, which I've never really done, even on vacation. I'd get up, because I forgot to turn the alarm off or whatever, but I consciously told Jess, I'm like, I don't want to wake up to an alarm. Just let me wake up when I wake up. Man, my dreams were so vivid and I could remember them. And I had moments where I was like, man, I connected with my brother again. I connected with my father, my mother.
That's
My mother
crazy.
she was fiery in the last one. But anyways.
That's nuts. That's nuts. Yeah. No, I love it all. I want, and we should talk about that more. We should,
Yeah.
maybe in the next episode, let's
Love it, man.
hone in on some of that. I think people need to hear two guys talking about woo shit sometimes.
Oh, look at that boy. Look at that greyhound. Oh, he's pretty.
He was like, I can't take it no more. I gotta
take it. I gotta get up there. Gotta get those in Gotta get those arms.
You see this right here? This is the decision. That's the turn around. Yeah.
The judge. Love it, man. Dude, we're at 2 hours and 23 minutes. I think this is a good spot, dude.
Yeah, all good.
I love you, man.
Love you too, man.
All right. We'll I was gonna bring on maybe next week my buddy Phil.
Okay.
Who just rode in the MS-150, I think, for the 10th or 11th time. I think he's getting up there in the most rides of the MS-150. Which, if you don't know, which you know, but whoever's listening, to MS-150 is for multiple sclerosis. His father passed away years ago from it, so he's been raising money and been one of the highest grossing person of raising funds for the MS-150 over these years. Worked for BP. Doesn't work for BP anymore, but continues to ride in the MS-150. And he was over at the house and he was like, man, I have trained a bit, but I'm still doing it. He goes, I've done that for the last few years and completed it each time. Yeah. So he's got drive. He's a driven young man. He's from the Northeast. He was in the U.S. Navy. And he does maritime engineer background. So he's got a lot to talk about and super cool guy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. And I know we both have close friends that are dealing with this disease. Sure. And so it's close to our heart as well.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
All right, man. Great episode 9, man.
Yes, sir. All day, every day. We got some clarity.
We did. We got some post-nut clarity there. For sure. All right. Love you, man.
All right. Love you too, man.
See you later.